February was an intense month. Let's hope that the end of March, at least, won't be as crazy. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Katie and today I'm going to be doing my February wrap-up, March TBR, and an update on my TBR takedown, which is once again a month of shame because while I did read books, I bought more books than I read. So, oops. But let's first get into the books that I read in February. So the first book that I completed in February was We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faizal. This is a Middle Eastern inspired YA fantasy. The second book just came out in January, which I am excited to read, but I'll probably read in a later month because I have way too many books and I'm not allowed to buy any more books. Just how it goes. I gave this a 4 stars out of 5, roughly. I really enjoyed this. I think this is a really good fantasy book and I really like the writing style. It's very lyrical, it's very beautiful, the prose is amazing. You can tell Hafsa Faizal has an amazing vocabulary. I love her Instagram, by the way. I love her TikToks. I just recently found out she has a TikTok because she popped up on my For You page and I'm kind of obsessed with her a little bit. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. My only qualms with this was the pacing in the middle was a little bit weird. The main character is searching for an artifact that is going to bring back magic to their dying world, and she meets a whole bunch of people on her journey, and like they all kind of become like this found family troupe that is working together, but they all have secrets and such. A lot of fun, but the pacing in the middle was a little bit strange. Like there was a lot of moments of like just them talking which I enjoy. There was a lot of action in the beginning and then it kind of would teeter off for a little bit, and then you'd have like one scene of action and then like dramatic fall and then like a bunch of random stuff and then like action kind of. I just don't think the pacing was great, but it's not something that super bothered me. I love Nasir. The main characters in this is an enemies to lovers with blades to the throat, which I'm not a huge enemies to lovers fan. I enjoy it, but it's not my favorite trope, I know. Contrary to literally everyone else on the planet, it seems like. But I did really enjoy this. I really like Nasir and I really like Zafia, and I'm really glad we saw both of their perspectives. Also, favorite characters, Altair. He's my favorite character, love him to death. Although, there's like a random thing that happens with him and Nasir, and I was like, ooh, that changes my opinion on things. But I'm not going to spoil it or, you know, whatever. If someone's curious about what that is because you read the book, let me know in the comments and I will write a comment about it. But yeah, overall, really enjoyed it, and I am going to probably be reading the second book. The second book that I read in the month of February was Song of Wraiths and Ruin, which has a really shiny cover so you can't really see it that well on camera. And this is by Roseanne A. Brown, and I gave this book a 3 out of 5 stars. This is a solid read. It's a fantasy. It's inspired by African folklore, and I really enjoyed the magic system. I really enjoyed the characters. Oh, Karina has my whole heart. I love that. I love her. The reason I gave it 3 stars though is I do have a small gripe about the representation of migraines in this novel. To give it a positive, I really like the anxiety representation in this and neurodivergent representation with Malik's point of view. I really like his depiction of anxiety, and I really like how his anxiety was used in his character arc and a facet of his character that shaped the way the end went. I'm really excited for the second book, which has been pushed back to November, but I'm really excited for it. Anyway, my problem with the migraine representation is it just wasn't very realistic for me, like from my experience, so I really had to knock a couple stars off from my experience because I just didn't like it. Our main character, Karina, has migraines and she suffers from them because of a past trauma, which I don't know much about trauma migraines, but they really felt like they were used as a plot device rather than an actual integral part of her character. There were multiple times where I forgot she had migraines until she randomly would get one, and they didn't really knock her down. They really didn't hinder her from doing any of the stuff that she normally was doing, which is really annoying as someone who has migraines, and they oftentimes literally ruin my day. It just didn't fit right, and it just really wasn't something that I really vibed with. I felt like it wasn't really enough of a hindrance to her. You know, I forgot that she had migraines, like debilitating migraines from what's described in the book. Like, I literally would forget that she had migraines, and she's supposed to be a migraine rep. Like, a little bit strange to me, but you know, okay. So that wasn't my favorite, but overall I enjoyed it. I think it's a solid YA fantasy. I think it's had really good world building. I really love the lore of this. It talks a lot about imperialism and colonialism and like taking over countries and gaslighting of people, like gaslighting of minorities, which I thought was really a good, interesting inclusion with this book, because our main character, Malik, is an immigrant whose country and people were overtaken by Karina's country. She's the princess in this book, and they have essentially enslaved them. I don't know if it's enslavement, but they treat them like crap. There's a lot of racism against these people. I think it was really well done. It was very nuanced and layered, which I enjoyed. 3 out of 5 stars. I don't have any major complaints, but the migraine thing definitely grinds my gears. But it isn't going to keep me from reading the second book in the series when that comes out, so there you go. And the last book that I read in February, which was so good. Was so good, you guys. I can't even with this book. And that is City of Brass by S.A. Chakraborty. This is an amazing book. It is a Middle Eastern fantasy. It takes place in our world, but has jinn. The jinn are real creatures, and they have like an entire society that is like parallel, hidden from the human world, and it is so good. Oh my god. This book is so amazing. It is utterly gripping and enthralling. I really love both main characters. We have 2 point of view characters. Nari, who is a 19-year-old girl living in Cairo. She is a thief and like a con woman, and she ends up accidentally summoning a jinn named Dara. He's actually he calls himself a deva, which is a specific type of jinn. Love Dara, love her. And our second point of view character is Ali, Prince Ali, who fabulous he. Sorry. Prince Ali, who is the second son of the king, who in the City of Brass, Daevabad, his family in the past ran Nari's family, because Nari turns out to be a jinn, which isn't really a spoiler. You find that out fairly soon. So Ali's family has taken over the City of Brass, and his family has been ruling over the City of Brass for the last couple hundred years. There's a whole bunch of other political stuff that happens that I don't want to get into. Nari comes, and she is from a very powerful jinn family and a very specific jinn family. She is a healer, and she is with Dara, and Dara is kind of like a legend and a myth in the City of Brass. He's like over 1,000 years old, I believe. I can't really remember how old he is, but a bunch of mortal enemies, a bunch of like character tensions. So good. There's like, I will warn you, this book is a tiny bit slow in the beginning. However, it is well worth it. She does world building amazingly, and I really feel like I get to know the world and step into the world, both because I'm learning about it from Nari's point of view, because she's the outsider, while also getting to experience it before Nari gets to the City of Brass through Ali's point of view, because Ali is very involved with the people, and he is doing some secrety things on the side. But yeah, he is so awesome. I love Ali. Ali is my favorite character, and some crazy batshit stuff happens at the end. But chapter 19, which is most of the way through the book, I'm not gonna lie, but once I hit like chapter 19, I was like, this is one of my favorite books of all time. Yeah, chapter 19 is on page 337. It's an Ali chapter. Oh my god. It absolutely hit in all the right places. It's a fight between him and another character, and like a sparring fight, and let me tell you, I read it and about died. It was so good. So great. Love this book. Cannot recommend it enough. Great adult fantasy. I can't wait to continue reading it. Oh, reading the series. It's so good. So good. Okay, so now I'm going to kind of spill the beans on myself about what books I bought in February, because I bought 6 books in February. 4 of them were impulse buys. The other 2 were strategically planned and inevitable. The first 2 books that I bought in February after I finished City of Brass, and that is Kingdom of Copper, which is the second book in the Daevabad trilogy. This is really annoying to me, but I have City of Brass, obviously, and Kingdom of Copper. Like, they're both paperback, but this one's really matte and this one's shiny, and that's really annoying to me. And then, to top it all off, I also bought Empire of Gold, but they only have the hardcover version, and this paperback doesn't come out till June. And I'm not waiting till June for Empire of Gold. That's not happening, but it's really beautiful. It's a beautiful book. I'm thinking of doing a reading vlog series when I read these, because they're so good. I already started reading Kingdom of Copper, and I'm enjoying it a little bit less than I was enjoying City of Brass, but I think it's just going to take a little bit to get into because you have to kind of reset up some things. I haven't had ample time to dive into it and like fully get into the story like I did with City of Brass, so we're gonna hope that this happens with Kingdom of Copper. Okay, so the next 4 books I bought are actually in a series, and it's like the full series that's out at the moment. I finally broke down and bought them. They were on sale. I had to. I didn't have to. I wanted to. And that is Susan Dennard's Witchlands series. So the first book is Truth Witch. The second book is Wind Witch. The third book is Sight Witch. And then the official third book, I believe, is Blood Witch, which this is my favorite color to cover. But the reason I bought Truth Witch, or Sight Witch, sorry. The reason I bought Sight Witch is because on her Instagram, she has like a little order to read Witchlands series in, and Sight Witch was recommended that you read the third. So I'm gonna follow the author's instructions and do it that way. I'm excited. I know it's a YA fantasy, and I know it has to do with witches and like having different powers and such. And the third book, or fourth book, fifth book, Witch Shadow, comes out sometime this year. I know it was pushed back, but I really like Susan Dennard's website and her resources for writers, so I was like, I'm gonna buy her books and see how I like them and how I feel about them. Those are the books that I bought. Bought 6 books. 6 books. All right, time for February TBR. Now, the first 2 books on my TBR haven't even come out yet. I'm filming this on the 1st, and this video will go out on the 4th, but these 2 books came out on the 2nd. I pre-ordered both of them, so I'm going to have them, and the first book is Chain of Iron by Cassandra Clare. I have wanted to read this book since Chain of Gold came out. I read Chain of Gold in one day, so I'm really excited to read Chain of Iron. I can't really tell you much about this. It's in the Shadowhunter series. It's a spin-off sequel of the original spin-off prequel. It's complicated, but yeah, I'm gonna be reading Chain of Iron. I cannot wait. I'm so excited. This is like one of my most anticipated releases of the year because it's my trash guilty pleasure series that I read. The other one that comes out on March 2nd is Bridge of Souls by V.E. Schwab. This is her middle grade paranormal ghost stories. I think it's like the Cassidy Blake Chronicles or something like that. Anyway, the main character, Cassidy, is a young girl, 11 or 12, who is able to see ghosts. She has a ghost pal, and her parents are actually ghost hunters who have their like little like history show. So they've gone to all these locations and they have kind of hunted ghosts, and Cassidy is hunted by actual ghosts and she has to like solve actual ghost stories. I really love this. It's such a cute little series. I love V.E. Schwab. This will literally probably take me like 3 hours to read, but I'm really excited because like I don't read much middle grade, but it's Victoria Schwab, so I have to read it. And now, onto my other books on my physical TBR. 2 of them you already saw. Kingdom of Copper and Empire of Gold. What more can I say? Literally probably gonna be the only other books I read because I am on a deadline for my book. But hopefully in the last 2 weeks of March, I'm going to read a ton of books. But these 2 are first on my list, and these are the ones that I really want to get done before March 30th, which is when Rule of Wolves by Leigh Bardugo comes out, and I'm definitely going to be reading that one because I am hype for it, and I'm also starved for Grisha content because that trailer actually killed me. Actually murdered me, and I can't believe I really want it to be April 23rd. And also the fact that they're making me absolutely in love with the Darkling already makes me very angry because I don't know if you know this, but I am not a Darklina stan, not a fan of that, but Ben Barnes is making me reconsider. So I have a couple more books like on my TBR, but I don't know, I'm not like hard and fast gonna get to them. If I read those 4 books, I think I'll be happy, but I do have 2 other books that I would like to read. This one I started, and it is weirdly a contemporary. I know, it's very strange that I'm reading contemporary, but it's on my TBR, and that is The Truth About Keeping Secrets by Savannah Brown. I don't know what possessed me to pick this up. I just kind of feel like I wanted to read it, so I was like, I guess I can pick it up. I took it to the salon when I got my hair done, safely, of course, obviously, but it's really short, it's really small, it's like a, I don't know what you'd call this. I think it's like a mystery, but like not really like a mystery. I'm unsure of like the actual genre besides like contemporary, because I don't think this has any like magical elements. I could be wrong. So I bought this last year and never got around to it because I was still in a reading slump. And the other ones are obviously the Witchlands series. I'm only planning on, maybe depending on how much time I have, reading Truth Witch. Like that's the first one. Obviously I'm gonna try to read this one. I really like the covers too. I know they just redesigned these covers, I know I say that in every video though. Anyway, so hopefully I'll maybe get to these. I'm hoping to read more books in March. I'm just kind of unsure about how many books I can actually feasibly read because I'm on a deadline for The Wrath King, and I'm going to be trying to finish that book by the 15th because on the 15th it goes out to betas, and oh, your girl's nervous for that. Hopefully in my March wrap up, I'll have read a lot more books than I have anticipated. All right, so here is my TBR takedown stats, which are shameful, absolutely shameful. So I started February at 81 books on my TBR, on my physical TBR, and then I read 3 books, yay. So I got down to 78 books, but then I added 6 to my physical TBR. So I'm back up to 84. And at least 2, if not 3, of the books that I read in March are going to be going on the TBR pile and then immediately coming off. So it's not even going to be helpful that I've read 3 books in March, but we're going to see. Whew, I've been talking for far too long about books and the things that I bought impulsively that I shouldn't have bought. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know some of your books that you read in February. Thank you for indulging me as I continue to grow my TBR, even though I said I wasn't going to. Oh well, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!